إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. كلمتنا في هذه الليلة إن شاء الله بعض أحكام الأضحية. Our talk inshallah will be about tonight some of the rules of Udhiyah. The Udhiyah, to sacrifice for Allah Azza wa Jal in the day of Eid or those after it, those 3 days after the day of Eid, for non-Hujjaj, for a person who is not performing Hajj. That sacrifice is called Udhiyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي, say my prayers. وَنُسُكِي أي ذبيحتي and my sacrifice. وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, all is for Allah, the Lord of the creation. So in this ayah that there is ibadah, an act of worship, of sacrifice. In another ayah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ, pray for your Lord, wanhar, and sacrifice it, slaughter it for Allah Azza wa Jal. So that's an act of worship. Only for these days, Al-Udhiyah. What is the ruling of it? Is it recommended and highly recommended, liked? Whoever does sacrifice it, get reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who doesn't do is not as sinful. Or it is a mandatory, an obligation. Whoever afford to sacrifice but doesn't do it is a sinner. And whoever does it get reward. What is the ruling of it? The people of knowledge have two opinions. Some of them, they say it is a mandatory because of the sound hadith. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man kana lahu sa'a falam yudahhi fala yaqrabanna musallana." كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Man kana lahu sa'atun, whosoever afford and doesn't sacrifice shouldn't get close to our place of prayer, musallana. Whoever is able but doesn't sacrifice shouldn't get close to our musallana. So based on that hadith, some people of knowledge said it is a mandatory for the one who afford, including Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. Some other ulama said, no, it's not a mandatory, it's highly recommended. Because of the other hadith, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إذا دخل العشر وأراد أحدكم أن يضحي فلا يمسن شعره وبشرته شيئا أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. If the 10 enters, means the first 10 days of the month of the Hijjah, if it enters and one of you wants to sacrifice, then he shouldn't cut his hair, his nails, etc. So they say this hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, whoever wishes, وأراد أحدكم أن يضحي, and one of you wants to slaughter, to sacrifice. So since the wishing is going back to the person, if he wishes he does it, if not he doesn't, they say it's not, it shows it's not a mandatory, it's an optional, but it is recommended, highly recommended because of the other hadith. So they said based on this, we act upon both hadith. The hadith showing that the one who is able, the one who is afford to sacrifice but doesn't do, shouldn't get close to the musalla. And the other hadith which says, if one of you wants to sacrifice, then he should do such and such. Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah and others, Jumhur ulama, majority of scholars, they choose the opinion of being an optional, after they all agree upon the importance of sacrifice for the one who is able. Other rules relate to the Udhiyah. So what's mentioned in this hadith, that the one who wants to slaughter, he shouldn't cut his hair, his nails, until he slaughter it, until he make the sacrifice. And that is only to the person who intend to sacrifice, not the rest of his family, and not even the one he appointed to slaughter for him. For instance, someone who is in Hajj, performing Hajj, he wants still to make Udhiyah, and he appoints someone back in his home to slaughter. So that one doesn't have to apply the hadith, not cutting his hair, not cutting his nails. So that rule limited to the person who intend to sacrifice. Now, the Udhiyah, in order to be valid, there are 6 conditions. Inshallah, at the end of this talk, if you are asked what are these 6 conditions, try to remember it. أحدها أن تكون من بهيمة الأنعام وهي الإبل والبقر والغنم ضأنها ومعزها. قوله تعالى ولكل أمة جعلنا منسكا ليذكروا اسم الله على ما رزقه من بهيمة الأنعام. وبهيمة الأنعام هي الإبل والبقر والغنم، هذا هو المعروف عند العرب، وقاله الحسن وقتادة وغير واحد. The first condition, the Udhiyah to be valid, is to be from this kind of animal. It should be from the ibil, the camel, wal baqar, the cattle, wal ghanam, and the sheep. So it should be from these 3, not from any other things. Not the game or any of these things. Rather, it should be from those 3. Either the ibil, the camel, the baqar, the cattle, and the ghanam, the sheep. The sheep, the same thing, the lamb and the... How many kinds the sheep are? The sheep, how many kinds? Yes? What do you call the one with a lot of hair? Yes? The one with a lot of hair. The sheep. Good. The one with less hair. The one with a lot of hair, what do you call it in English? That's the sheep. Very good. The one with less hair. Goat. Barakallahu fikum. طيب. الغنم is goat. is general. أليس كذلك؟ الغنم هو يشمل الضأن والمعز. So the sheep, the one with a lot of hair, and the goat with the one the less hair. طيب, the sheep itself is two types, male and female. What do you call the male? The sheep. The male sheep, what do you call? نعم. Ram. Barakallahu fiqh. Yes, the ram. We take in the rules of Udhiyah also, we learn in English, inshallah. Barakallah. The ram. How about the female? The lamb. The female of the sheep, what do you call it? Okay, lamb, the small one. Ahsant. Lamb is the small one. What do you call the male of the sheep? Ram. How about the female? Sheep. No, sheep is the general name. So they don't have here in America. Okay. Okay, about the one with the goats, what do you call the male? Because the goat has two types too, male and female. Allah mentioned in the Quran, and you see it's there. 8 أزواج من الضأن 2 ومن المعز 2. Okay, let me read from the Quran then. 8 أزواج من الضأن 2 ومن المعز 2 قل الذكرين حرم أم الأنثيين أما اشتملت عليه أرحام الأنثيين. طيب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said 8 أزواج, 8 pairs of the sheep, 2 male and female. He didn't name it. The sheep, 2 male and female. And of the goats, 2 male and female. So the sheep is the one with a lot of hair. The goats with the one with the less hair. Goats have horn. Sheep doesn't have horn. All the ram has it, the male has it. Barakallahu fiqh. ومن المعز 2 قل الذكرين حرم أم الأنثيين. الآية ومن الإبل 2 ومن البقر 2. And from the camel 2 male and female. And of oxen 2 male and female. The cattle, the cow. المهم. Female sheep, what do you call female sheep? Ewe. Okay, ewe. This is the first time I hear that word. Ewe. Okay, ewe. Subhanallah. طيب. على كل حال. If you understand, that's the point. So it has to be from these 8 kinds. The ebil, the camel, 2 male, female. This is a condition. Or the cattle, male and female. Or the sheep, male and female. Or the goat, male and female. Those are called bahimatul an'am. Okay, that's one condition. It has to be from bahimatul an'am. Second condition, أن تبلغ السن المحدد أو السن المحدود شرعا بأن تكون جذعة من الضأن أو ثنية من غيره. لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تذبحوا إلا مسنة إلا أن تعصر عليكم فتذبحوا جذعة من الضأن. Okay, in order to have an opinion generally, and let me ask أخونا to read it inshallah in English. Jamal, can you read it in English?
There are 6 conditions for the udhiyah. Number 1, it should be one of the an'am class of animals, which are camels, cattle, sheep, and goats, because Allah says, interpretation of the meaning, and for every nation we have appointed religious ceremonies that they may mention the name of Allah over the beast of cattle that He has given them for food. Surah Al-Hajj, Ayah 34. Bahimat al-an'am, translated here as beast of cattle, includes camels, cattle, and sheep. This is what is well known among the Arabs, and this was the view of Al-Hasan, Qatada, and others. Condition number 2, it should have reached the age stipulated in Sharia, which is 6 months for a sheep, and the age at which the animal is considered to be an adult for any other animal. Because the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "Do not sacrifice anything but an adult animal unless it is difficult for you, in which case you may slaughter a 6-month-old lamb." Narrated by Muslim. A mature animal means one that is considered to be an adult. In the case of camels, it means one that is 5 years old. For cattle, it means one that is 2 years old. For sheep, it means one that is 1 year old. The jad'a is that which is half a year old. So it is not correct to sacrifice a camel, cow, or goat that has not yet reached maturity, or a sheep that is less than 6 months old. Condition number 3, it should be free of any faults that would render it unsuitable for sacrifice, of which there are 4. Number 1, an obvious defect in one eye, such as when the eye is sunken in its socket, or when it sticks out like a button, or is white and obviously defective. Number 2, obvious sickness whose symptoms are clearly apparent in the animal, such as fever that prevents it from grazing and causes loss of appetite, mang that obviously affects its flesh or its health, deep wounds that affect its health, and so on. Number 3, obvious lameness, which prevents the animal from walking normally. Number 4, emaciation that leaves no marrow in the bones. When the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was asked about what should be avoided in udhiyah, he gestured with his hand and said 4. A lame animal which is obviously lame, a one-eyed animal whose defect is obvious, a sick animal whose sickness is obvious, and an emaciated animal that no one would choose. Narrated by Malik and Al-Muwatta from the hadith of Bara ibn Azib. According to a hadith narrated from him in Al-Sunan, he said, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, stood up among us and said, "There are 4 which are not permissible for sacrifice." And he mentioned something similar, classed as Sahih by Al-Albani and Al-Irwa al-Ghalil, 1148. These 4 faults render an animal unsuitable for sacrifice, and they include similar faults or more severe faults. So the following animals are also unsuitable for sacrifice: one that is blind in both eyes, one that has eaten more than it can stand until the danger has passed, one that has encountered difficulty in giving birth until all danger has passed, one that has suffered something that could kill it, such as strangulation or a fall from a high place until the danger has passed, one that is unable to walk because of a defect, one that has had one of its forelegs or hind legs cut off. If these are added to the 4 defects mentioned in the text, the number of those that cannot be offered as sacrifices reaches 10. These 6 and the 4 mentioned above. Condition number 4, the animal should belong to the person who is offering the sacrifice, or he should have permission for that, either on the grounds of Sharia or from the owner. The sacrifice is not valid if the animal slaughtered does not belong to the person who is sacrificing it, such as one that had been taken by force, stolen, or taken on the basis of a false claim, etc., because it is not permissible to draw closer to Allah by means of sin. A sacrifice offered by the guardian of an orphan from the orphan's property is valid if that is customary and if he feels sad about not offering a sacrifice. A sacrifice offered by a guardian from the property of the person under his care is valid if done with permission. Condition number 5, no one else should have any rights to the sacrificial animal. The sacrifice of an animal that is held in pledge is not valid. Condition number 6, it should be slaughtered at the time specified in Sharia, which is from after the Eid prayer on the day of sacrifice until sunset on the last of the days of Al-Tashriq, which is the 13th of Dhul Hijjah. So the days when the sacrifice may be offered are 4. The day of Eid, after the prayer, and the 3 days after that. Whoever slaughters it before the Eid prayer is over or after sun sets on the 13th of Dhul Hijjah, his sacrifice is not valid, because of the hadith narrated by Al-Bukhari from Al-Bara ibn Azib, may Allah be pleased with him, according to which the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, whoever slaughters his sacrifice before the prayer, it is meat that he has brought to his family, but that is not the sacrifice. And he narrated that Jundub ibn Sufyan al-Bajali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I heard the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, saying, whoever slaughters the sacrifice before he prays, let him replace it with another. And it was narrated that Nabasha al-Hadali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, the days of Al-Tashriq are the days of eating, drinking, and remembering Allah. But if he has an excuse for delaying it beyond the days of Tashriq, such as if the animal ran away, without there being any negligence on his part, and he cannot find it until after the time was over, or he appointed someone else to slaughter it, and that person forgot until the time was over, then there is nothing wrong with slaughtering it after the appointed time. This is by analogy with the one who sleeps and misses a prayer or forgets it. He should pray it as soon as he wakes up or remember it. It is permissible to slaughter the udhiyah at any time, night or day, but it is better to slaughter it during the day, and it is better to slaughter on the 2 days of Eid after the 2 khutbahs. Each day is better than the day that follows it, because that means that one is hastening to do good.
Jazakallahu khairan. So these are the 6 conditions. All of you can remember at least 2 of it. If not all 6 one time, at least 2 together. These 6 conditions which makes the udhiyah, the sacrifice, valid. Unless you make in all 6 one time, then that's special. Now, Ya Ibrahim, barakallahu fi. 1, only 1. 6 conditions, let everyone then mention 1. It has to be from what the Shaykh call beast of cattle. It has to be from Bahimatul An'am. This is a condition, either the camel or the cattle or the sheep and the goats. Okay. As for the camel, how many people can share? 7. 7 people, of course, with their families. They can share 7 or less. 3, 4, 5, 6 can share 1 camel. How about the cattle? 8 or 7? Some of you said 8, some of you 7. 7. It's the same ruling. 7, not 8. 8 cannot share. How about the sheep and the goats? Only 1. Which one is more likely? Here you have 7 people. Yes, here you have 7 people. Which one is more likely to sacrifice a camel or a cattle, or to sacrifice 7 sheep or goats? Which one? Is the question is not clear? Yes? 7 sheep, ahsant. Yes, the sheep is more likely. So those 7, instead of sharing 1 camel or cattle, even though it's valid, it's better to slaughter each one sheep. So the first condition to be from the beast of cattle. Second condition is very important, yes? Age-wise. there is certain age the animal has to reach in order to be valid for Udhiyah. As for the camel, 5. Must complete 5 years. Okay, now. Barakallahu feek. Yes, you're right. Jazakallahu khair. Tayyib. So the camel has to be at least a 5-year-old. How about if it is 5.5? Is valid? How about 7? Okay. So what's being limited is the lower age, not the older. If you slaughter 7, is most likely better than 5. But 5 at least. Okay. How about the cattle? 2 years must be complete. It's in the middle of the 3rd. So 2-year-old. That's for the cattle, the cow, and the. How about the sheep? How about the goats? Yes? A year. For the goat, the one with less hair, a year, both male and female. At least a year. You slaughter 6, 7, 8, that's good. As long as it's not sick or this. How about the sheep? The lamb, 6 can be accepted. 6 months, half a year can be accepted. No less than that. No goat will be accepted less than 1 year. No cattle will be accepted less than 2 years. And camel less than 5 years will not be accepted. This is the age-wise. This is the second condition. So if you want to sacrifice, you have to make sure the age. Ask those who know how old is this sheep, how old is this camel. Third condition. Naam. Yes. It has to be free from obvious defects. أن تكون خالية من العيوب المانعة من الإجزاء. So, yes, this camel is 6-year-old, 5 or older. It's very expensive, but here is a problem. It has a deficiency. It has a defect. There is sickness in it. There is a problem with it. Has to be free from those. From those, the hadith mentioned not to have it. Those 4 things, if the animal has it, now, what are those 4 things that if the animal has, will not be accepted, will not be permissible to consider Udhiyah? Naam. Al-awra, the one eye. Animal with only one eye. The other one has a problem. It's either out or hanging on, or it's a clear one eye. It's not accepted. How about 2 eyes? If you're blind, all of it. More worst. Prophet ﷺ mentioned 1 eye, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So you understand if it has problem for both 2 eyes, is a blind, then it's worst. Unless you are هؤلاء الذين لا يقبلون القياس. طيب, so it shouldn't be one eye. Second problem, defect. Al-arja shouldn't be what? Lame. With one eye, one leg. Handicap. Shouldn't be. I don't know what you call it. Lame. How about two legs? More worst. The third problem, third defect. Yes? Al-hazil. What they call? Emaciation. Yes, the one very old. Very old. Too old. طيب. And the fourth? Yes? Not before that. Before that, the defect. Prophet ﷺ mentioned 4 things. The hadith the brother read. Yes? Very, very obvious illness, sickness. Very obvious sickness. There are the symptoms that this animal is extremely sick. طيب. So this, if the animal has this, or the like of it, or more than this, then it's not valid. So animal with one eye or blind, with one leg or cut off both legs, very old, cannot even move, or sick, and symptoms of sickness is there, or it's worse than that, in danger. Can you slaughter, can you intend to sacrifice an animal which is fallen down from a building, 4th floor, so it didn't reach the ground? Can you intend to sacrifice? No, you don't know until it fell and we see if it's healthy. Okay, if not, khalas. The same thing. So the animal shouldn't have that defect. 4th condition, نعم، أن تكون ملكا للمضحي. To own or to have the permission to sacrifice it. You have to own it. Someone who wants to make udhiyah, sacrifice an animal he stolen, or he took it by force, or he owned it by means of deception, this is not valid. How about if he says it's better than nothing? Yes, he says he's stolen it, but it's better than nothing. Some people may earn money by means of haram, selling alcohol and the like, or gambling, and they may give it charity as a charity to the masjid, to the orphan. He says he's strong. He can make money. These orphan, these weak people, they cannot make money. He is strong to steal, he can steal, they cannot steal. So he steal for them. Is this allowed? He says he doesn't eat. He makes sure he doesn't eat. Nothing of this haram go to his stomach, but he only give it to the poor people, to the masjid. No, it's not allowed. Allah is not accepting. Subhanah. Inna Allah tayyibun la yaqbalu illa tayyiba. Allah doesn't accept but good, because He is good, subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't get close to Allah by means of sin. So reality, there are people who intentionally put their money in the bank with interest. They collect so much money from interest, what they call it, and they give it to the masajidis. Knowingly it's haram. They say, okay, if I don't take it, they give it to other company, or they maybe spend it to a church or somewhere. What do you have to do where they are spending to? You look where you spend it to and what you earn. Because in the day of judgment, the person will be asked about the wealth 2 questions. One is what? How did he earn? من أين اكتسبته? And second question, وفيما أنفقته? Where did you spend to it? So even though where you spend to is good place, it's in the house of Allah, it's in orphan and poor people, but how do you earn it? If it's haram way, Allah is not going to accept it. So the sacrificer to own what he is sacrificing, or at least to have the permission to sacrifice. طيب. The 5th condition, ألا يتعلق بها حق للغير فلا تصح التضحية بالمرهون. That nothing of the right of someone else is connected to it. For instance, someone, he buy a car from another one. He said, give me a pledge, give me a deposit. He said, okay, this is my camel. Okay, when you pay the money, you get your camel, all of it. If you don't, you neglect it, then we sell in this animal until I get my money of the car. طيب. So this is called marhoon. What do you call it in English? Ar-rahan. Can we call it deposit? Or pledge? Yani, you buying something from this store man, you don't have the money. Let me say it costs $20,000. You said you will bring it. And then, but if you don't bring it, how do I do? Give me your watch or your phone or your something, which I can sell it if the deadline pass and you don't come back to me. That thing he keeps, what's called? Yes? Pound. Mortgage. Collateral. Arbon, that's what we want. No, you're right. Pound. Yes. Yes. So if you bring in the money, you will get it back. If not, this means they sell it. They get whatever. طيب. So those things, this pound or whatever you call the pledge or whatever, you cannot, that animal you cannot sacrifice for Udhiyah. Yes, you have more right on this person than what it costs is this, but this is for a purpose. And it's connected to something. So until you're freed, you cannot. The last thing, condition in order the Udhiyah to be valid. Yes, أن يضحي بها في الوقت المحدود شرعا. Yes, to sacrifice the right time. When is the right time to sacrifice? After the Eid prayer. Till when? 3 days or 4 days? Okay. The Eid day and the next 3 days. So 4 days. So this is the time frame for slaughtering Udhiyah between the Eid prayer, after you perform the Eid prayer. If you do before the Eid prayer, as one Sahabi did, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was so kind, so he slaughtered so people can have something to eat, meat, before the Eid prayer. And he mentioned that to the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ told him that this is, yours is charity. It's just a general charity. Slaughter another instead. So it has to be after the Eid prayer. And then you have all the way to the next 3 days, 4 days. The Eid day, what day is? The 10th or the 11th? The 10th. So you have the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th. Before the 13th, before the sun sets. These are the rules of the Udhiyah, with the other rules we mentioned, until you slaughter, or whoever you appoint slaughter on behalf of you, you don't cut the hair, the nails, and the like. Any correction, any question? Now Ibrahim, before he slaughter, yeah, he can. The brother asked someone who is going to sacrifice, can he, for instance, cut the hair of his son, the nails of his daughter? Yes, he cannot do to himself. That's understood. But can he cut the hair of someone else? Can he cut the hair of his friend, his companion, who also going to sacrifice? نعم. Some you say الله أعلم. طيب. Abu Bakr, can he cut the hair of his son, 5-year-old? Yes. But he cannot cut the hair of someone who also sacrificing? No. What's the difference?
Because the other person sacrificing is supposed to follow sunnah.
Okay.
He's not supposed to help.
Ahsant, barakallahu fiqh. Yes, he cannot cut the hair of someone who also sacrificing, because even he himself is not allowed to cut his hair. If he's not allowed to cut his hair, how are you allowed to cut his hair? This is helping one another on sin. لا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. He himself, if he cut his hair after he intends to sacrifice, knowingly, willingly, then he is committing sin. He is disobeying the Messenger Muhammad alayhi salam. So you doing that for him means you disobeying too. Other than that, someone who is not sacrificing, you can cut his hair. نعم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك.